Hello everyone, my name is Amber. Welcome back to my channel, Amber Reads Romance. Today I'm just doing a quick intro to this vlog. I've been slowly trying to read Rina Kent's backlist and doing it in her reading order. So this should close out the last books for the Royal Elite series. So I'm going to be reading Vicious Prince and Ruthless Empire, and then I think it's going to be like the novella that's like the Elite novella. I can't remember what it's called. But so I'm going to go ahead and go over those books, and this will finally close out that series. And then the next vlog will continue. I think it's going to be the duet of like John's dad, I think. So I'm excited for that. All right, I will check in with you once I get a little bit into The Vicious Prince. Hey guys, so I am a little late checking in on this vlog. I honestly was flying through the book yesterday while I was at work. It was really slow, and so I was actually able to read a lot at work. And then today I just got busy. It's Saturday, and I had to do some cleaning at my mom's house and some deep cleaning of my son's bathroom since he moved. I realized he didn't clean it that much, and so it's been a busy day just cleaning, and I need to do my check-in here. So I am about 60% through Vicious Prince, and this is Ronan and Teal's romance. I believe this is book number 5 in the Royal Elite series. As I've said before, I am slowly going through the Rina Kent backlist. So I really want to do, I might try to fit all 3 of these books in this vlog, so I might not do as many check-ins. I'm not sure. Really, I think it's this book, the next book, and then I think it's like an anthology or novella kind of thing of all the couples. So hopefully that won't be too long anyways. But I'm really enjoying this. As usual with Rina Kent's writing, she really sucks you in. You're kind of like can just read through her books so fast. They're very easy to read, easy to hook you. And I was already intrigued with Ronan from the last 4 books. I really liked his character. He was kind of like the life of the party, always partying, having like flings with lots of women, just always a smile on his face, the funny guy. But you could tell there was a lot more to him than just being that guy or that like kind of shtick that he does. And so I was interested to get to his story. And Teal was very interesting because she was actually introduced during Elsa's books, because she was adopted by Elsa's father. And we discover that later, and she was actually, sorry, you might hear working or drilling. My cousin's working at my house outside, so if you hear any sounds, that's what it is. Anyways, she was at her and her twin, Knox, who I really loved him too, were adopted, and they were taken in because her mother was pretty crazy, and she had kidnapped them, like kind of took those kids and acted like they were the brother that died, and she like did weird stuff, and the dad basically took them in. Teal has like, she's very like emo, almost goth girl, like has really hard time with social like just talking to people. She has kind of social anxiety, but she kind of doesn't care. She's like this perfect mix of like being antisocial, but like only caring about her small group of people. And she just kind of has bad, like she doesn't really understand the way people think. I almost think, I don't know if she's neurodivergent or what, but she does have like those differences where she doesn't really believe in love. She thinks it's like, you know, not real. It's just science. It's your body's experiencing like those things. So she's an interesting character. She has basically taken Elsa's place because Elsa was going to be in an arranged marriage with Ronan, and she obviously didn't want that because she was in love with Aiden. And so basically Teal was like, I'll do it, you know. She wants to pay the father back for like adopting her and taking care of her. And she kind of has her own reasons for wanting to go into this marriage. They haven't fully been revealed yet, but it feels like it's something to do with Ronan's father. And, you know, Ronan is like always known he was going to have to go into an arranged marriage. It's part of, you know, his lifestyle. And I can't remember what his dad is, like, nobility wise, but like he knew, like, I think he's like a lord or something. I can't remember. I'm sorry, guys. But like he knew like he was going to have to have an arranged marriage, but he's been able to like kind of put his dad off for a while. And he does not want this arranged marriage. He goes to Teal and basically tells her, you're going to call it off, say you don't want to do it. And that's that. She doesn't do that because it's ruining her plans. And so she doesn't agree to that. At the dinner, she agrees to the wedding and to the arranged marriage. And Ronan's like, you're dead. Like, it's over for you. So he wants to find out as much about her as he can so he can try and manipulate her or, you know, find some dirt on her to get her to stop this arranged marriage. And his friend basically kind of tells him, I do know something. And it was about this kind of like sex club that they both kind of went to. I believe it was Cole, if I'm remembering Cole, I think it was. Sorry. But he kind of goes to the sex club thing, or I think his parents like ran it or something. I can't remember. But Teal goes to this and she likes to kind of like watch, and she was going to finally kind of experience something where she was like blindfolded and she was like kneeling on the ground, and they'll send somebody in and they know all her like fantasies and like her things that are hard limits. And then of course, who comes in but Ronan? So he managed to get the invite to be able to do this, and he fully like gets her off by playing with her tits. And I always find that so unbelievable in romance. If you can have an orgasm off of somebody messing with your nipples, good on you, but I just don't see how that's realistic. But whatever. And this kind of, she's blindfolded when he does that. And so she's kind of like amazed because she's never had an orgasm. She's had sex. It's obvious she's had some kind of trauma. She freaks out if people randomly touch her or anything like that. So the fact that she was able to get off, she's like blown away. And then of course Ronan speaks and she knows it's him and she freaks out. And he basically takes a picture of her with like her top off, like on the ground on her knees. And he's like, I'll send this to your dad and to my dad. But she's not backing off. She refuses to stop this engagement because she has like this hidden agenda. And I think it has to do with like getting close to his dad or something. She's like befriending Ronan's mom. Ronan's mom is like very like beautiful and sweet, but like delicate. And so Ronan like really loves her, and you can tell he's like hiding stuff. There's a whole scene later in the book where she overhears him like arguing with his uncle. And it kind of seems weird, like his dad might not be his real dad. Like, is the uncle his dad or what's going on? And the uncle basically like kind of like threatens the mom. So I don't know what's going on there. I mean, we just in the previous book had a weird parent thing, like where the father wasn't really his father. It was the other girl's father. I'm like, I don't want to do that again. So I hope that's not what's going on here. Teal and Ronan kind of butt heads. They're very opposites attract. The thing I really loved about Ronan's character is both of them have demons, and they deal with them like differently. Like she's very antisocial and shut down and has all these walls built up. And Ronan has like, and I don't know what his trauma is or what happened to him yet, but you could tell like, and he talks about that he will use smiles, jokes, or any of that kind of stuff as his like coping mechanism. And he always wants to be with people. Like that gives him security. He can't handle being alone. So he's always the most likable guy at the school. He's the partier. He's the smile. Like he's always smiling. And nobody's really seen the hidden real him, except for like her. Like his friends kind of see it a little bit, but really he only lets that darker part of himself out with Teal. And they get some pretty spicy times going on. She like gets kind of possessive over him, and he gets possessive over her, even though he says he doesn't want this marriage. Now he's like wants her. And so there's a lot of little things that happen. I mean, I'm already 60% through, so I'm not going to go into all these things, but they basically are really connecting and have a great sexual chemistry. And they like, she kind of like got upset when they had like a fight. Like he thinks she's like too crushing on like her dad's partner, so she's like an older man. He doesn't want her around him. She doesn't want him around like these girls and stuff, and so they kind of get in a fight. She kind of needs to go like decompress and get away. She calls it purging, where she was like running for like a couple days, just nonstop running, and he's like texting her, freaking out, where are you? I need to know where you are. And these are like really funny texts and sweet texts, and you could tell he was just like gone for her. And he's like, I miss you, like, you know. So you could tell he's finally coming to terms that he does have feelings for her. And Teal has like never had feelings. She kind of shut off her feelings after some trauma. I think the trauma has to do with her mom. Her mom, I believe, was a prostitute, I believe. They didn't even know who their real father was. And so I think the mom, you know, was super shady. So who knows what happened to Teal when she was younger. But with all these texts, she basically like sees him like being vulnerable and putting himself out there. And so she was like smiling and happy about it. And so she meets him at their like meetup place, the house that they go hang out at. And they basically fully get it on. I mean, they've done stuff where he's like Facebooked her and all that, but this is like, they finally get down to business here. And, oh, and the other reason they fought, I forgot, this is the main reason they fought too, was she ended up hanging out with his friend Cole, and she was like reading the book with him, and he got so jealous because they're kind of a lot alike. And, you know, he did not want her around him. And, yeah, and Silver showed up too, because Aiden literally sent Silver to go see that the girl, because Silver is Cole's stepsister, and you could tell they have something going on. So I can't wait for his book, because he's a little darker, like the quiet, dark, you know, sinister kind of guy. So I'm really excited for his book. But that was what kind of blew everything up. And, you know, Ronan was like, I'm not having it. Like, you're not going to be with anybody but me. So I really loved it. They had a great, you know, sex scene, and like ends up, I think his name's Cole. Like, I keep forgetting what his name is. So I hope I'm saying the right name. But he shows up and is like watching them, and he like keeps doing it with her, but covers up her nudity because he wants Cole to know like she's mine. So I'm actually really enjoying this. It's a fun, like, good read so far. So I'm interested to see what each of their traumas are and what's going on with them. So I'm going to try and finish. I'm definitely going to finish this today because it's very easy to read. And then I will give you guys my final thoughts. It's kind of hard because I'm coming in 60%. So I'm kind of breezing through a lot of the stuff going on. But I really do enjoy Ronan's character, and there's a lot more to him, and she's finally realizing there's so much more to him. And so she's a very different character too. She's very unique. So I'm really enjoying it. I don't know if I'm liking it as much as the last one because it was so heavy and emotional, but I am really still enjoying this. So I will check back in with you, and then hopefully I'm getting the friend's name right. I will see if I got it right once I start reading again. All right, see you in a bit. Hey guys, so I am checking in here. I had planned on doing filming today, but as you can see, I don't have any makeup on, and I kind of was getting lazy, and I never filmed my videos I planned on doing, but I need to do my check-in here, so here we go. So I did finish Vicious Prince last night, and I did really enjoy it. I just don't think I felt like their connection as much or cared enough about this couple like I did the previous books. I loved Ronan. I thought his character was really well done, very interesting. I think he's kind of the comedic relief through the other books, and you get to see how that's his defense mechanism, and how he's always putting a smile on his face to cover up his trauma or his anger or issues going on in his life. My main issue with this book is the revenge plot. Like, I never usually like the revenge plot, especially if the revenge plot is not done with enough research and verification, because we do end up, let me backtrack, we end up finding out what happened to Ronan, what his trauma was, and he had actually been sexually abused by his uncle. And so it wasn't, that whole conversation had nothing to do with like him not being his father's son or anything like that. It's like the uncle kind of threatening him, because when he was like 8, I believe, kind of got called in to take care of Ronan on a Halloween party. Like, you can see how close Ronan was with his mother and his father and stuff at this age, but they randomly had to go somewhere for Halloween, and he was upset. The uncle came and was going to take him to a party, and in the car he like totally like molests him, attacks him sexually. He ends up rolling out of the moving van to get away from him and kind of gets hurt and ends up wandering the streets alone, like calling for his mom and dad, and it's just a very heartbreaking thing. Ronan ends up confessing this to Teal because he's trying to get closer to her. They have this beautiful moment. They're having sex like in the car, and they're very like, and she's freaking out because she knows her revenge plot is going to hurt him. And so she starts to build up those walls again, and he sees that. So he tells her about his past. And what frustrated me was, after him breaking like down and being vulnerable and telling her about that, does she tell him about her issues? No. The scene just ends there, and like she doesn't talk to him for a long time, like for a while after this, because she's basically deciding to like cut things off with him and go after her revenge plot. So that kind of frustrated me. And then we find out about what happened to her, and we only find out what happened to her not from her telling him, but writing a letter to him as like a goodbye, after she already kidnaps his dad, like drugs him, and is taking him to like this cliff, and is kind of planning on not just killing him but herself as well. And she leaves this goodbye letter to Ronan, like explaining that his father was the one, like one of the men that would basically, her mother was a whore, she was a prostitute, and she started getting money for like letting men around her kids. And there was one specific man that could come around, and he would basically masturbate, jerk off over her. He never did anything fully, but he was doing that and like on her and stuff. And this was supposedly his father, and so this was her big revenge plan. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. My allergies are kind of getting crazy out here, so just bear with me. So, like, he knows instantly, like, this isn't my father, because he had just been revealed to him that his mom has been suffering from cancer for years. Those were all the mysterious trips his parents would take. The night of everything happened on that Halloween, she had to get to the hospital and stuff. And so, like, he finds out that she's like dying, and they're telling. And so his father was never even around when this event happened. It was his uncle. And so he has to go try to find her to stop her from doing this. And so this whole like, she's like telling the father while he's kind of drugged, where he can't move but he can hear, and she kind of told him, like what he did to her, and how like his own son was molested by his uncle, and he had no idea. And I thought that this was really interesting, was the father had like absolutely no idea. He was kind of neglectful, but not for bad reasons. It was because he was so emotionally invested in his wife and making sure she got healthy and all that kind of stuff. And so he's like devastated hearing this, kind of freaking out, but can't speak. When Ronan comes, they have this whole confrontation, and then the uncle like blames him, and he's like, it's your fault I had to do that to her because I couldn't have you, so I had to do what I had to do. which is freaking sick. And then he ends up jumping off like the cliff and taking Ronan with him. He kind of breaks Ronan's fall. Ronan gets all banged up and is in the hospital and everything, but he's okay. So now we have our happily ever after, and they are together. My problem is that, like, I mean, shouldn't you be 100% sure that the guy is the one that molested you or attacked you as a child before you try to kill him? So I didn't really like that much, and I really loved Ronan. I just don't think I connected as well to Teal like I did to Kimberly, and I loved Elsa and everything. So it might just be my preference thing. I still really enjoyed it, but there were just some issues that I had with the whole revenge plot and everything and it's so kind of crazy that the same person that molested you is both his uncle. Like, and after he tells you that his uncle was the one that molested him, you don't put two and two together that maybe it wasn't his dad, it was his uncle. I don't know. It kind of bugged me. So I ended up giving this 4 stars and I think 3 chilies, 3 on the spice scale. I still really enjoyed it. It just didn't hold up to the other ones as much to me. But I did start reading, I think it's Ruthless Kingdom. Sorry, I just started reading it, so I'm thinking it's Ruthless Kingdom. But this is going to be Cole's and Silver's romance. And in the previous clip, I kept going, is Cole his name? I did get confirmation that it is Cole. But I am very intrigued by this one. I think I'm like about maybe 25, almost 30% through. And it's been going kind of back through time. So like from them knowing each other at like 8 years old, to like 11, 14, 15. So we're kind of getting to see some of the stuff. I think we're going to get more too from Silver's perspective of like when Elsa and her had like battles and stuff. So I'm very interested to see that. Cole's is very interesting character. He feels very like almost psychopath tendencies. Him and Aiden had a lot more in common because they're both pretty dark internally. He was kidnapped the same as with Aiden. Him, Xander, and Aiden had been kidnapped. Him and Xander were let go because they were really after Aiden. But that like had long reaching effects for these kids. And one of the things is that this like really triggered like Cole's like already darker side, and he kind of feels like an agent of chaos. Like he needs chaos to feel like alive. He's very quiet and subdued and very like watchful. And him and Silver didn't really like each other as kids. He would kind of like grab her hair and be like a jerk to her. But something happens. I don't know what yet, but like one night where he goes kind of on a walk to the park and he sees Silver crying, and she like never cries. And so he goes like with her and he's just kind of fascinated. And he ends up kind of telling her this thing like, I'm going to get all your firsts. And so like he like wants her first kiss, her first like everything. But he's also like really a dick, and like, but he's drawn to her and she's like his chaos that he needs. And so you see through the years of them having this kind of contentious relationship of him like wanting her first, like kissing her, wanting to see her tits, like all these different things, but also kind of being like a dick. And Silver has been the mean girl in the other books. So I always find it super fascinating when an author can take the mean girl that we hate for like 3 books. The first 3 books, she was horrible, and like giving her more depth. And I feel like that's happening here. So you do have also, because you see Silver was really close friends with Kimberly, and she pushed Kimberly away and was like really mean to her. And she has her reasons for doing that, like not wanting her mother to like come after Kimberly. She's got a very complicated relationship. She was crying that day because her parents are getting divorced, and she was devastated. And Cole just kind of tells her a very black and white way to work with it, and was like, ask, if you don't want to be with your mom, ask to live with your dad. And so she ends up doing that. And her dad and her mom both work kind of like in the political arena. And so her mom's like this perfectionist, and she kind of like is forcing Silver to kind of be the same way. And Silver's like forced to be this mean girl persona, keep everybody at arm's length. And Cole can see that, and he sees like that she's like fake, and that he's able to get like the real Silver reaction. And so we end up even getting to the point where it's like her and Aiden and their fake like little like engagement. And Aiden's kind of really pursuing this and accepting this because he has to for his dad. And also he wants to fuck with Cole. Him and Cole always fuck with each other. So he told like Cole that he like took her virginity, and Cole's like infuriated because he wants all her first. And she kind of goes along with it because she's upset because she found out he slept with somebody, like the nurse at the school or something. And so she's like, well, that's effed up. Like, you can have all my first, but I don't get your first. So they have this very contentious relationship. And then add on to that, her father and his mother are dating. And now they just found out that basically they're going to be getting married. And one thing that I love about this is Cole has like a really beautiful, loving relationship with his mom. He really loves her. His father was abusive, and so once he died and was out of the picture, his mom was able to like get out of her depression and flourish again. So I'm very interested. I'm intrigued. There are different characters. I'm excited to see if Silver can kind of redeem herself from being the bitch and see what's going on with them, because now they're going to be stepbrother, stepsister. So it's going to be interesting. All right, so I will check back in with you when I get a little bit further and see how it's going. Hey guys, so I am actually on my break at work, so I'm going to try and make this quick. I actually got about 60% through Ruthless Empire last night, and I actually was having a hard time putting it down, but I needed to go to bed. So I'm actually really enjoying this book. I'm really fascinated by Cole and Silver, and so much has gone on in like since my last check-in. So at the wedding, so their parents end up getting married on Silver's birthday, which I kind of think is fucked up. So her birthday is like forever going to be your wedding anniversary. I just think that's messed up to do that to your kid, but whatever. She ends up, trying her best. She's always about public image, always about being the perfect daughter. She's trying to be supportive, but she's kind of devastated. She goes on and on about how like she got the timing wrong. Obviously, it's like they're both really upset that their parents are getting married because now they're stepbrother, stepsister. And then Cole is like actually like then had like plans for Silver, and so this kind of ruins things. But he wants his mom to be happy, and she's no longer depressed and in a bad place because she's in love and happy with him. So they end up having kind of like a run-in because Silver goes to kind of get away from everybody in her dad's office, and Cole is there, and they end up getting it on. Like he full on like bends her over like the conference table and fully like has sex with her, and he goes in pretty fast thinking, he's thought that she's been having sex with Aiden this whole time since they had like their fake engagement kind of thing. And so he finds out she's a virgin, and he is just so ecstatic that she like saved her first for him. So they end up getting it on. It's pretty, kinky, good times. And he like is all in now. Like he's all in. He's pretty obsessed, but they have to keep things secret. So they kind of end up going through this thing of like him sneaking into her room at night. They like have sex every night. Obviously at first she tries to stop this, but she can't stay away from him. She'll chase off or fuck with other girls that try to be with Cole. And so it's like she's so obviously into him. She is kind of frustrating because she will not admit that she's into him. And she always says she hates him even after they have sex and stuff. And it's just kind of frustrating because it's like, just admit that like you're in love with him and you're obsessed with him. At the same time, we've had this stalker situation going on with Silver, where she has been getting texts for like years at this point, but now they're kind of escalating. And like after she had sex with Cole for the first time, it even brought up how she's blossomed to a woman, and now she's a full woman now and deflowered and stuff. And so she's pretty paranoid that like it's somebody close to her. We kind of suspect Adam. He was this guy that kind of stalked her and was crazy, and he ended up pushing Elsa into the pool for her kind of thing. Not that she asked for that in the previous books. So, and we're going through like their storyline. We're not even caught up to the end of like Elsa and Aiden's romance yet. So we also have drama with her and Elsa. We get to the scene where Elsa full on like punches her and attacks her. And it was pretty hard to read from Silver's perspective because she's like not interested in Aiden at all. She just wants Aiden to stay with her and keep this fake engagement going on so she can kind of keep Cole at arm's length, even though why are you even trying at this point? And now she thinks she's pregnant because she's late. And so she had like basically pursued Aiden to be like, I need you to pretend like it's yours. Keep this engagement going. And he's with Elsa again at this point. So he's like, fuck off. Like, I'm not doing anything. You need to clean up your own mess. And that's when Elsa shows up and beats the shit out of her. And she kind of like goes to her park where she goes to escape, and she's like screaming out in the rain, like totally having a meltdown. And Cole shows up and he's there for her. And so they have such sweet little moments together. And he finally like broke into her phone to like look what's going on with her to find these texts from the stalker. So he's kind of looking into that. So I'm really loving their connection. They have, oh, and she also went to that sex club that was brought up in the previous book with Cole because she like literally followed him and then found out that and he knew she was following him. So he just like told her to come in with him. And so they did like, he's into voyeurism and he loves watching people have sex and stuff. So they ended up doing that together and then like playing while they're watching. And so now they do that once in a while together and all of that. So I'm loving Cole. I'm loving how possessive and dominant and kind of crazy he is. And like Silver is like his chaos, like his thing that like he brings like any light to his life. So I'm really enjoying this one. I'm really excited to see where we go. And if this Adam guy is the actual stalker, because I feel like that's too easy. I feel like it's got to be somebody else too that's beyond just Adam being kind of creepy and stalkery vibes. So we'll see. But I'm definitely loving this this romance. Like I'm really enjoying it a lot. So, and I love the taboo-ness of the stepbrother stepsister. I'm always here for that. So I'm definitely enjoying it. You know, I do want to see Silver kind of try to redeem herself a little bit more for her cruel ways, but you can kind of see that she has built this image and pushed people away to like, so they don't see the real her and see what's going on. And she also is just so like sensitive and caring to both her parents, and like her mom has like very bad depression problems. She like found her one time when she tried to kill herself, so she's always over concerned about her mom. So she's not like this cold psycho bitch that she lets people think she is. So I'm very excited. I'm enjoying this. But I got to get back to work, so I will check it back in with you later. Maybe I'll have some time to read at work today. I don't know. All right, so I will see you soon. Hey guys, so it's later at night right now. I didn't get much reading done today at work, so I actually just finished Ruthless Empire right now. About to start making some dinner, and I really loved it. I liked this a lot. I love a prickly heroine. That kind of, we get to see hidden depths and that there's a lot more to her than just being the mean girl bitch. I loved Cole. He's this quiet, dark, broody, kind of like mysterious guy. So I loved him, and he was so gone for Silver. I mean, they both have been obsessed with each other for years. Silver tries to fight it, and she always says she like hates him even after they have sex. And he gets like really pissed. Like there's a scene where he literally like locks her up in the back of his like Jeep, and ties her up and puts a gag in her mouth and everything because she said she hated him, and he's like, don't say it, you know? And they just have a very interesting dynamic. I mean, she thought she was pregnant, and so she was freaking out, like not dealing with it. But I forgive that kind of behavior. I mean, she's like 18 years old. I mean, that's a heavy thing. But once she like takes a test and figures it out, it doesn't take her long to tell Cole, so I wasn't upset with that. But it ends up being like a false test because he was like, did you go to the doctor? And she's like, I can't go to a doctor. I can't even get this test. I had to buy it online because it'll ruin my parents' careers. I mean, she's always just thinking about her parents' careers, her parents' political, careers and everything. And she puts other people first, which is the opposite of who you would think she was from like the first few books. And he's like, who gives a fuck about their careers, about anybody else? This is about you and your health. So he like makes her go to this doctor's appointment. They were actually going to France because like her mom went away with like her kind of boyfriend, that they're kind of just friends. And she's always worried about her mom. Her mom got in a big fight with her dad, and she's always worried about her mental stability. So she ends up going there. And then her mom had already left. So they kind of get this night, like day over in France where they can kind of be out in public together. And they got like tattoos together and stuff. But when they went to that, to France, they did this appointment and they found out it was like she wasn't pregnant. She kind of had like an ulcer and all this kind of stuff. And so she was actually like devastated because it was like a loss, like sometimes you find out you're pregnant and you're not ready for it. You don't want it. But then you start to think about that baby and the life that you could have. And so her and Cole were both imagining that because it was like they can't be together because they're brother and sister, stepbrother and stepsister, and their parents are in the political arena. So it's like this kind of was like going to be able to push them to be able together or go off together. And so it was kind of devastating for both of them. And so it was really sweet to see Cole be so sensitive and sweet to her. So you're just seeing so much build up in their relationship. Their relationship really evolves after that. But they have to keep things secret because of who their parents are. So it's really hard on them. And then you do have the resolution to her kind of stalker, which was Adam, and he was the one that pushed Elsa in the pool, and he like did cruel stuff to Kimberly, like all in Elsa's name. But you kind of knew like this. There have been these chapters called, I think it was like the Doll Maker, and they seemed a little creepy and adult to be like this teenager. So that's why I was like, Adam can't be the actual stalker here. He kind of was a stalker, but not the doll maker. And the doll maker's chapters are really creepy, and it's like revealed at the end who it is. And I was actually shocked because I was expecting it to be a man, and it was Cole's mother. So I was actually shocked, and I was really kind of excited because it's like I don't really get tricked in books a lot of the time, and I did not see that coming. And she has been was raped and abused by her father. She always had a doll with her. She took care of her doll. She liked being beat on by his father. And once the father died, it was because of her. And Cole always kind of wondered if he did something because he remembers his dad drowning and blood in the pool and him saying, "You're a monster." Well, it turns out he wasn't saying that to Cole. He was calling her a monster because she was behind him, and he had told Cole to run. And so that day that he had found Silver crying in the park, his mom had found her too because she followed him. And that's when she became obsessed with Silver. And so all these years she's been like having her cook with her, like do things with her. And it looks like she had basically been drugging her too now that they lived. She wanted to be with her father so she could be close to Silver and have her doll. So she's a literal whack job. Like she's lost it. She's a little crazy. And now that, like, what was crazy was Silver walks in on her mom and dad having sex, and she's like, you can't be doing this to Helen. Like, this is wrong. And so he's ending things with her, and that kind of pushes her over the deep end because she won't be able to live with and be with Silver anymore. And she has all these pictures of Silver, like she's been drugging her and like doing things like dressing her up and brushing her hair and doing like these crazy things. So it was crazy. So she ends up like having like kind of drugging her again, and Silver hurts her head and she's like kind of drowning like the father. And Cole comes and like saves her. He brought her dad with him. And the mom ends up, you know, hitting her head too and dying and drowning. And they kind of like cover it up as like an accident so nobody knows like he was married to a psycho, because she was actually this person that was attacking other girls that looked like Silver so that she wouldn't hurt Silver. So it was crazy. But I really enjoyed this a lot. I loved their romance. I loved like just how obsessed they were with each other. He kind of tried to push her away a little bit, not too long. It was resolved very quickly because of what his mother did. But I mean, they've been together like about each other for years. So they end up having to like wait almost like 10 years till like her father gets out of political office for them to like fully be together. But they do get married. And at the end, you have an epilogue where they're all friends. She's mended her relationships with Kimberly and she's good with Elsa. And so like they're all very close and they all have kids. And it seemed like Aiden's son was like, oh, she's beautiful. And he like tried to kiss the baby on the lips. So I'm excited to finally get to like the kids' second generation books, which that's why I started this, because I heard her like God of Malice and all those books are like really good. And I think they're like the second generation. So I absolutely love this. I really enjoyed Silver. I really enjoyed Cole. I thought their characters were really fascinating. So I think I'm going to give this one 5 stars. And I mean, it's not over the top spicy. It's like 2.5 chilies, I think. But I loved it. I mean, even though they do get kind of spicy because he does like to do, I guess I'll give it 3 because they do go to the club and do, you know, their voyeurs, and he likes to tie her up and spank her and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's pretty spicy, especially for a high school romance. I don't know any high school kids that go to a sex club, but whatever. So all I have left for the Royal Elites is the novella. Like that's the like an extended epilogue of all the couples. So I'm going to read that. I'm probably just going to check in once I finish it because it's just a novella and let you know my thoughts. But I think that this series has been really great. Like I've pretty much given all of them 5 stars except for the last one with Teal and Ronan, and that was still a good read. Like I still gave it 4 stars. But anyways, I will check in with you guys once I finish the novella. Hey guys, so I am checking in. This is my last check-in. I read the Royal Elite epilogue last night. I read it basically like right after the last book. I think it was Ruthless Empire. Yeah. And it was a really quick little novella. I liked it. It just had a bunch of epilogues with all the couples. It was good to see them like as adults, like with kids and still in their like friend group. And it makes me excited to get to like their kids' romances. Although it did have a bunch of epilogues that were already the epilogues of like the characters' books. They did have more epilogues mixed in there, but I thought that was kind of dumb because it's just like repeating the epilogues I've already read. So it was kind of repetitive, but I liked it. It was a decent little novella with a bunch of epilogues. And so I gave it just like a 4 stars or whatever because I mean, it is what it is. But I am really excited that I finished the Royal Elites series, and now I'm going to go on. I think it's to Aiden's dad. So that'll be interesting because he was like kind of like the bad guy in a lot of like the three books. He seems pretty ruthless and psycho. So I'm interested to see how his romance goes. But I think his is like a duet. So that'll probably be my next vlog. Thank you so much for watching this. I've really loved reading the Royal Elite series, and I'm really enjoying getting back into Rina Kent again. If you can, please like and subscribe. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know your favorite Rina Kent book, maybe, even if it's not in the Royal Elite, so I can see which ones are going to be the exciting ones to get to. All right, I will see you on the next one.